following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, it's Monday. It's Positively Pipeman on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio. And I have some very, 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 very exciting news coming up in a minute. We had a major announcement shortly before the show. And it's kind of funny because I was actually going to ride my bike into the studio. I was halfway here. And then I saw the announcement. I'm like, crap, I need to go back and drive to the studio so I can do this. And basically on the way to the studio, I was sharing it out, and getting prepared because we're going to be doing some ticket giveaways. That's why. But first, let's bring on Studio Nut and the Pet Health Guru. So after we do this, we are going to talk about pets and business. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead. I was just going to say hello.
Well, hello, Bill. Today we're going to talk about pet obesity. Why is your pet fat? We want to know, Pet Health Guru. And not only that, why is Juan's guppy fat? Is it the flakes? Are there too many flakes going in? We'll find out in a minute. And then after that, we're going to have our powerful business strategy segment with Michael Barbarita, and we're going to talk about 2 KPIs that can drive scale. If you have a business, you don't want to miss that. But I'm super excited. One of the festivals, hold on, first we got to prepare for it. I think I broke out the kazoo for 2 reasons. One is yesterday's live show was about the Renaissance Festival here in South Florida, which is one of my favorite events, and not far from you, Bill. Right? Like
right down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. So the kazoo makes me think of the Renaissance Festival, and I want to show you something if anybody can see. Look at this is from a band. The band gave it to me at a festival for an interview. Can you tell me the name of the band?
Not even
Case
close.
in point. There it is. Okay, so and it's funny because when you look comments for bands like that, people are like, "Oh, thank God it's not some boring name." Like they consider this like non-boring if you can't figure it out. But they can figure it out. It's not about them. They know. I think it's kind of about like you just want to keep them your private underground band is what it is. That's why you like it. But I do have an announcement because definitely the loudest, one of the biggest festivals in the United States of America just announced their full lineup today. They had released like 21 bands before, and people were already making comments because people are a bunch of whiny babies nowadays, okay? But I bet they're not making comments anymore after seeing this lineup. You ready for this? Almost 200 bands at Louder Than Life in Louisville, Kentucky. 200. I mean, that's insane. So thank God we don't have Rebel on the show with us today because I always have her read the lineups just for entertainment to show the Louisiana education. She would take 2 shows to announce this lineup and mispronounce probably all of them. So I'm going to go through them real quick, and we'll see how New Yorkers can do it opposed to Louisiana swamp people. And I hope she listens to this later so she can see what I think about her. Anyway, here we go. My Chemical Romance, Iron Maiden, Tool, Limp Bizkit, Pantera. Only U.S. show for Pantera. Pierce the Veil, Gojira, Danny Elfman. Which one of you knows who Danny Elfman is? Neither of you? Oh, my God.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so he started this band that actually played in my high school gymnasium, Oingo Boingo. Do you remember that band, Bill?
Not at all.
Okay. Now he is the biggest composer in movies and TV ever. He's the composer for all the Batmans. He's the composer for The Simpsons. You name it, that's that big, he's composed it. So he'll be there. I would like to get an interview with him because he's like one of the most famous people on the planet. The Prodigy, Sublime, Papa Roach, A Day to Remember, Baby Metal. Baby Metal is this Japanese band. They're girls, and they have the coolest setup because they're like, it's a typical like J metal opposed to J pop, and it's pretty wild. It's like watching some like theater show, but metal. Megadeth, their farewell show. Danzig, you know, Bill, do you know who Glenn Danzig is?
Nope.
You, and then very
I'm
special
too
guest.
old.
Very special guest. Well, you might know that. The Misfits. You know the Misfits? That was Glenn Danzig.
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a very special guest. That's not the name of the band. Hailstorm, Rise Against, Alice Cooper. You know Alice Cooper, don't you?
I've heard that one too.
There you go. Circa Survive, Ice Nine Kills, Jimmy Eat World, The Mars Volta, Mastodon, The Used, Bill Murray, Sabaton, Coheed and Cambria, The Pre-Reckless, Hot Mulligan. By the way, The Pre-Reckless, the lead singer is Lindy Lou Who from, what you can call it, The Grinch. Taking Back Sunday, Sleeping with Sirens, In This Moment, Dance Gavin Dance, Kyotos, Black Label Society, Killswitch Engage, Anthrax, Ministry, Cavalera, Skillet, The Warning, Nothing More, Tom Morello. You know who Tom Morello is, Bill?
Nope.
He was a guitarist of Rage Against the Machine. You know Rage Against the Machine?
No.
How about Soundgarden with Chris Cornell? See, this is fun.
Not my genre, obviously.
This might be more fun than doing it with Rebel. Lindsay Sterling, she's an amazing violinist. Oh my God, you got to look at the videos for Lindsay Sterling. She is really cool. Death Clock, which is a band that was an anime first and a made-up band in an anime. So now it's a band performing at the festival. They are pretty good. Black Veil Brides, Kubla Khan, TX, Under Oath, Alkaline Trio, Machine Head, Suicidal Tendencies, Chad Gray, the voice of Mudvayne, and hell yeah, 30 Years of Madness. Starset, Bad Flower, Alexis on Fire. By the way, I have Bad Flower Heelys. Just saying. Animals as Leaders, Thrice, Loathe, Coal Chamber, POD, The Home Team, Bowling for Soup, Thursday. Even for me, it's going to take a long time to get through this. We the Kings, From Ashes to New, Fit for a King, Sleep Theory, Present, Gwar. You must know Gwar from Oprah, Bill. Gwar shocked the world on Oprah. Palais Royale, LS Dunes, Atreyu, Lit, Get Scared. Lit's one of those bands that I guarantee you know, but you didn't know it was them. Like they have these songs that are like really, really popular. Nobody knows it's them sometimes. Get Scared, Set It Off, Blood for Blood, Tsunami, Filter, Alyssa White, Guns, Soulfly, Between the Buried and Me, Era, Chelsea Grin, After the Burial, Lacey Sturm, Toadies, Currents, Orianthe, I hope I pronounced that one right, Boundaries, Make Them Suffer, Metal Church, Reunion. I just interviewed the dude from Metal Church the other day. The Acacia Strain, the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus 20th anniversary of Don't You Fake It. Holding Absence, Haywire, Spite, Agnostic Front, Escape the Fate, Jutes, Emure, Ivry, Alien Ant Farm. You know that one, Bill? They did they did the cover of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. Very popular. It was more popular than when he did it in some ways. Scene Queen, Caskets, Rain City Drive, The Funeral Portrait, Peeling Flesh, Hates Today, Holy Water, Locked Shut, Hail the Sun, Madball, I See Stars, Mushroom Head, Angel Dust, Scary Kids Scaring Kids, The Word Alive, Jeffrey Hardy, McSabbath, The Ataris, The Rasmus Volumes, Windwalkers, Twitching Tongues, Powerman 5000, The Barbarians of California, Emery, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, Born of Osiris, H2O, Red, Josie Scott, the original voice of Saliva, Alias Way, 1000 Below, Soil, Arrows in Action, Chain Saint, 0936, Elijah, Holy Wars, Butcher Babies, Never Tell, Dry Kill Logic, Icon for Hire, Kemi Kehoe, Co-Defendants, Texas Hippie Coalition, Austin Carlisle, the original voice of Mice and Men, The Pre-Wild, End It. I don't even know where the end is, to be honest. Mana, Rivers of Nile, Like Monster Flames, Signs of the Swarm, Archers, Koyo, Primer 55, Amarosa, Gemini Syndrome, Shaman's Harvest, 200 Stab Wounds. I have to take breaths here, you know. I-56, or 156. It's hard to read, too, with the sunglasses. Missing Link, Fox Lake, I can't even say that one. Grey Haven, King Bio, Many Eyes, Tantric, The Violent Hour, Dark Divine, Sent by Ravens, Showing Teeth, Mystery Guest, Earshot, TX2, Diamante, Otherwise, Doobie. There's somebody named Doobie, and not the Doobie Brothers. He is Legend, Aviana Villanova, Future Palace, Cane Hill, Corpse. Listen, I'm almost to the end, actually. Oh, wow, I was. So I might as well finish now. Billy McNichol set for tomorrow. Death Valley Breaks, Gates to Hell, Dream Wake, Resolve, Bolt Cutter, Body Box. That's the one. I'm glad it had the name because I can tell what it is now, but the logo is one of those logos. Heavy Hitter, 40 Below Summer, Corpse Pile, and I said Cane Hill Array, right? Yes, I did. There it is. Your 200 louder than life bands right there. I got a better way to do it, though, Juan. Don't you think there's a better way to have done that?
It would have been faster for sure.
Let's try the better way now.
Louder Than Life, North America's loudest rock and metal festival returns to Louisville this September with My Chemical Romance, Iron Maiden, Tool, Limp Bizkit, plus Pantera, Pierce the Veil, Gojira, Papa Roach, and more. Nearly 200 bands across 7 stages. Louder Than Life at the Kentucky Expo Center, September 17th through 20th. Passes are on sale now, starting at only $1 down at louderthanlifefestival.com.
And we are giving tickets away to Louder Than Life, so DM me at Pipeman Radio anywhere on socials. Tell me who, of all the bands I listed, is the band you want to see at Louder Than Life, and you'll be entered to win. And Bill, I just want to say something. I could guarantee you, I have a solution, okay? Before you give your solution, I could guarantee you if your pet is obese and you bring them to one of these festivals that I do, they will no longer be obese. And especially if they go into the mosh pit. Even me, like, okay, so I've been off tour since like October, and I think I gained like 10 pounds because, like, when I'm on tour doing these festivals, I'm like walking like 80 miles in a weekend and moshing. So that's my advice to the world. Bring your pets to a music festival if you want them to lose weight because they're obese. Now, that's probably not good advice. So we'll let the pet health guru give the good advice.
You are absolutely right. That is not great advice. They would not appreciate the music like you do. But
How do you know if they haven't gone?
well, actually, it would depend on their energy level. If it's your pet and they have your same energy level, yeah, there might be some enjoyment there. But for the most part, their hearing is so much more sensitive; it probably drive them nuts.
What about your guppy? Do you think your guppy would like going to a festival like that one?
I think they would. I mean, the water definitely filters out most of the sounds, so they would just feel the vibrations. I think they would enjoy that.
Nice.
It's like a day at the spa.
Is your guppy obese?
I think she's just pregnant, though. I don't want to be like, I don't want to assume anything, but
Well, wait a minute. Are there more than one guppies in there?
there are, yes.
And they're different, genders.
Well, I haven't
I'm very
asked them,
hesitant
but
to say that
I'm
word
assuming
today
yes.
because people might attack me for saying that word. So it's like hard to come out.
Well, I don't know their pronouns, but I'm assuming yes.
Okay. Like, I wonder if fish address each other by pronouns. My grandmother, she would get mad at me if I said she or he. You don't call people by pronouns. You call them by their proper name. That's respectful. Isn't that how you grew up, Bill?
It's exactly the way it was.
And your pets weren't
Exactly.
obese, were they?
No, they were not.
So I just found the other solution. See? Maybe another bad solution, but okay, let's go on and give the good solution.
Yeah, obesity is a major issue in our pets today, and of course it follows the trend in should I say human beings? Is that proper
Yeah.
terminology for what we are? Again, we have to watch that. But primarily the number one reason is the toxicity of the body between ultra processed foods, over medication, preventatives, all that stuff, and our chemtrail filled air. All those are absorbed into the body. Body doesn't know what to do with synthetics, artificial stuff, made up, man-made stuff, and so it starts. Actually, I sometimes describe it a lot like, here we go again, women with shoes. When they fill up the closet with shoes, they never throw a pair out. They just make somebody build another closet. Our body's the same way with toxins. It's stored in fat cells. So when all our fat cells get filled up with toxins, we build new ones. And that's why when you go through a detox, most people lose weight because we can now burn off that fat that was in the wrong places.
I have to say before you go on that I have taken total offense to what you said because I have like 75 pairs of shoes.
Okay. So who built your extra closet?
Not a woman. But but seriously though, yeah, it's like with humans too, man. Like you store this garbage in your body. Like I often wonder with humans. So at what point do you not realize how big you're getting when we go to the obese level? We're not talking about overweight. We're talking about obese, which is unhealthy. How do you not? I always think about that. Listen, just like recently, like I'm going to Costa Rica on Sunday, and I'm thinking to myself, huh, I've been like in training to go because I've been, home since October, at least most of the time. And I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, yeah, I got to get back into my boxing weight, and I'm not big. Juan just saw me. I'm not big, but like, so I couldn't imagine getting to that point with like, it's one thing if you were a kid in that way or you have some health condition, but if you don't have, but if it's something that you used to be my size and you turned into that, when do you not notice that? That always blows my mind.
It's a tough problem, that we all face as we get older, because the toxins are building up in the body. Our energy, when that happens, of course, it basically downplays our energy levels, so we're not as active. We're not hiking, we're not walking, we're not running. And if we do, it's shorter and shorter distances. Same thing with our pets. They get out on a walk with you and, they look up at you like, are you going to slow down and go home? Or, what's going to happen? Of course, dogs especially, and cats, both of them, they're notorious for just sleeping all day long. So they're not getting high exercise. And then we leave this bowl usually of toxic crumbs down for them all day long, and they become grazers, meaning that they just eat a few pieces at a time. So it's one meal a day.
I want to stop you there.
And they do.
I want to stop you there. And the reason I'm stopping you there is what I was saying before. That's what I do. So when I'm out traveling, Jessica will tell you. She says it. She'll say it to the other siblings like, oh my God, when you go traveling with Dad, you don't get to eat because there's never any time to eat. And I don't even think about it, though. That's the point. I don't even think about eating because I'm too busy doing other stuff. But when I'm home working and not out traveling, and I'm home, meaning Florida, and I'm working, like I am grazing all day long, and I seem to be hungry all day long. But when I'm doing the events like festivals, like I go to these festivals working morning till late at night, and like I'm not even hungry till like probably 4 or 5 because I'm not even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's very likely, and of course, part of the reason that they're grazers is they don't really like that food. It's like us with junk food, chips or popcorn or stuff like that. I know I have to watch that when I have to do any large amounts of driving because it's just boredom, So you got to do something.
It keeps you awake too. Like I've done so many road trips where I've stopped and got snacks just to wake me up, and keep going, especially in the days when I ate sugar, because then it would literally, I was just thinking about it the other day, is like you would literally take a sugar stop and get some sugar so you could stay awake.
Yeah, I've done that before.
That's so true. I mean, it's just, and of course, all those snack foods that we grew up with, which were at least partially healthy or healthier, have now been replaced by, more and more synthetics. I mean, the Reese's cup, peanut butter cups, that big controversy now with Hershey chocolate. There's nothing natural about it anymore. It's all synthetic. The peanut butter's fake. The chocolate is fake. What's the integrity of these companies? And of course, the same applies on the pet food side because they're using garbage as well. They're not using real foods. And again, it's just going to replace down your energy levels. It's going to store more toxins in your body. And unless you do a detox, somewhere along the line, you're not going to be able to button those pants anymore. And then you're going to say, what happened to me? And I got to go out and buy new clothes. And, unfortunately, our dogs and cats don't do that, but all of a sudden they jump up in your lap and it's like, oh my God, I got to do something here. Or they can't even jump up on the couch anymore. And that's even worse.
To my point before of how do you not notice, like, listen, I notice if it's just a little tight, much less like it doesn't fit on you or you have to do different notches on the belt. Like, that should be a message to you, I would think. Do you know
It-
why
it-
Most
it's
people,
not?
I think most people just blame the dryer and say like, "Oh, you shrunk all my clothes. Now I gotta go buy new ones."
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's a part of it though too. But the cuts of clothing today too, they're all screwed up. I don't know. I've tried to do some shopping online for clothing, and a large shirt from one company is
Oh
completely
yeah,
different
no,
than a large from. It's
I
nuts.
won't shop online for clothes, man. Especially some of
Yeah,
these companies that pop up on your Facebook and stuff, and I'm like, no, no, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. It's tough that way, and so you really you can buy even from the same company. You know, two pairs of slacks or shorts or whatever because we do mostly shorts down here in Florida, but. One you can button with no trouble at all. The next one is same size, same style, just a different color. It doesn't fit. It, either too big or too small. It's crazy.
It took me all show, Juan. Why didn't you say something to figure out my face was being covered up?
I liked it that way.
I bet you did. Uh, so I tried to switch us to see if that would fix the problem, not thinking that wouldn't fix it. I knew it wouldn't fix the problem, but I don't know what I was thinking. But you brought up another rant for me, Bill, just now. Thanks for reminding me. Yesterday, I was at the Lake Worth Street Painting Festival, and I was hotter than could be. Like it was 80 degrees out, and the sun was strong.
Yes.
Why are we in a third winter in South Florida? And I'm telling you right now, I wore shorts because I refuse to wear pants one more time this winter in South Florida. Just saying. Had to get that out.
I know. I mean, there's your toxins again because of the weather modification. They're using chemicals and EMF, electronic, wavelengths to steer weather around, and they're using that basically to either boost certain communities or to destroy certain communities. And it's those powers to be. They've got technologies we don't even couldn't dream of. No matter how much we had to drink or smoke or anything
Yeah.
like that. But
I mean,
I mean, there's technologies out there. I mean, people don't realize that that's going on. But we were doing weather modification, basically cloud seeding, going back into the 19 teens when airplanes were brand new. They started doing this stuff, but yet here we are, 100 years later, and I don't think the government would do something like that to us, would they?
we have places like Dubai where like the rain is artificial. They use
Yeah.
drones to
Yeah.
create the rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I get complaints from some of my northern customers too that the snow doesn't melt; it feels like plastic. It's not real snow.
I have seen videos of people trying to jump into the snow, trying to like get buried by the snow, and they just hit ice.
Oh my God.
Breaks it just I've seen people like almost break their backs doing that.
Yeah.
So things are definitely looking a little bit different these days.
Oh, by the way, Bill, this weekend, a little recap on this weekend. Saturday, I was sitting on my balcony watching beach polo, and I kept hearing this name over and over again because I could hear it loud and clear. And why go down there if I can just watch from my balcony and hear it, And
Hmm.
I kept hearing this name. I'm like, holy crap. So I text Chad's sister, and I'm like, are you here? Because I don't know if you remember, Bill, but Chad's brother-in-law is one of the most famous polo players of all time. And
No, I didn't know
actually,
that.
yeah, he ended up having a really bad accident that was, he wasn't even supposed to survive, and he wasn't supposed to even be able to walk again, much less play polo. What's interesting about that is Chad's father was a very famous polo player, and he got into a bad accident and ended up having brain damage and eventually and couldn't walk and stuff and eventually died.
Hmm.
So basically, Julio Ariano, which is Chad's brother-in-law, his kids and Megan, their kids, both play polo. So it turned out I was hearing the name. It was the boy, Chris, Chad's nephew, but she wasn't there because she was like, "Oh no, Hope's playing over in Wellington." So Chad would be very proud looking down because he loved his nephews to death. Okay, and so it was kind of a weird moment for me right there. Like hearing that name, it was like, it's kind of weird. It kind of hits you weird. I can't believe.
Yeah.
Even Chad's been gone that long. It's been a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, it really has been. And,
right?
we could only wonder what this show and my show and all, would be like if he was still around.
Right.
And it's, because we started the whole thing.
Yep, totally. So I had him run this station for 3 months before anybody knew it was a station. And we would sit there and he'd go, "Do you hear that?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "We need to fix that." And I'm like, "Okay."
I remember those days in the studio. Yes.
He would hear
before
shit.
we did all this remote stuff.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I was going through stuff because we moved studios and I'm getting getting stuff put up on the wall. I was going through stuff and I found pictures of me, you, and Chad with Gertrude Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
And the
that's
articles
still floating around on my Facebook page. That's still floating around on my.
But I mean, I have actual paper version stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then we even call it one of the shows we were broadcasting live in the very, very beginning with me there and you're there and Chad was there at the table. I think it was like Palms West Fest or something like that. So
yeah, it was one of them.
That just happened last week.
One in Pompano too.
Yeah,
we did one,
and we did all those pet expos too.
Yeah, exactly.
The good old days.
Yeah. Setting up in the morning and tearing down in the mid-afternoon in the hot Florida sun.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, but I don't do them anymore. So as I tell you, like they were the good old days. Let them stay the good old days.
Yes.
But anyway,
absolutely.
So why don't you tell all the listeners how they can listen to your podcast, view your live show, check out My Paleo Pet, why they should check out My Paleo Pet, and everything else they need to know to not only make sure their pets are not obese, to help them if they are, to prevent it before it happens, or any health condition that your pets may have?
Well, My Paleo Pet is essentially evolved, if you will, into a complete type of healthy store. Farm to table on proteins, raw dairy, and eggs, things of that nature for humans and for our pets, both of them. The pet stuff, of course, is formulated in predetermined recipes so that we don't have obesity. They're species appropriate. And all the herbal products that they carry, again, for health, for detoxing, for all kinds of different issues, health issues, we can handle all of that for you. So it's a one-stop stop, if you will, for your health needs. Of course, to back that up, I have the Pet Health Cafe, the podcast here on these same stations, on YouTube, all over the place. And we disseminate a ton of information. And we've been doing this we're in our 18th season, if you can believe that. And it's, every week we try to bring a different perspective. Quite often it's on the same topics, on food and health and that sort of thing. But like this week, I will have Dr. Michael Dim on, one of the most renowned homeopaths in the pet industry and the animal industry, discussing some of the chronic problems that we're having with our animals besides obesity, but the skin problems and the ear problems. I mean, this is all the body trying to cleanse itself, and yet the bulk of the market out there is still feeding highly processed foods, ultra processed foods that contain mostly chemicals. And so if you tune in on Thursday nights, 8 o'clock, you can go on YouTube, Facebook, W4HC, all these different outlets, and share it with everybody, because we're all going to be facing these types of problems if you have pets during your life, and people themselves are going to probably be facing tons and tons of problems with their health. I mean, I just want, when you watch TV, you turn on or even on the computer, the number of ads for medications and the problems that they're trying to basically manage is phenomenal. I sit there and go like, "Oh, I've never had that. I've never had that." I feel neglected sometimes. I never catch anything. It's like, But then again, my diet comes from, and my clean living comes from my paleo pet. So stop by and see us.
Absolutely, or they can't listen to my show. So, do you have any final words about obesity?
Feed that species appropriate diet. Stay away from the carbs and the sugar, as you know so well. That's the first starting point. All these foods contain things we know nothing about. I mean, I saw a piece on social media just this past weekend about all the chemicals that are in just common table salt in the processes, and it's like it's everywhere. It's just everywhere. People don't realize that table salt has sugar in it.
That is the stupidest thing I ever heard.
I saw a bottle of Himalayan salt that says, this salt is millions and millions of years old, but it has an expiration date.
That's I know. I love that one too. I joke about that all the time.
So everybody, don't forget, hit Pipeman Radio for tickets to win for Louder Than Life. We're also going to check my socials too. We're going to have an announcement next week about Aftershock, and that's probably one of my favorite festivals, so stay tuned. But for now, we're going to also talk about everybody going to prison, and if you win, we're giving away tickets to go to prison. Do you want to go to prison? Well, right after this commercial, we are going to talk business, though, with powerful business strategies. Michael Barbarita, 2 KPIs that can drive scale. But meanwhile, now let's go to prison, Juan.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival returns this summer with Limp Bizkit, Disturbed, Bad Omens, plus Gojira, Papa Roach, A Day to Remember, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Cypress Hill, The Used, and so many more. Incarceration at the Ohio State Reformatory, July 17th to 19th. Passes on sale now at incarceration.com.
You're listening to The Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio. We are in the Positively Pipeman Powerful Business Strategy segment with our amazing resident expert on business, Michael Barbarita, Next Step CFO. And I have one question for you right now, Michael. What is it that Shark Tank investors always ask about?
There's two questions that they always ask about, and it's something that we business owners should always have available and understand what it is. And that is the cost to acquire a customer and what is the long-term value of that customer. So when I was in the frozen cookie dough business, one of the reasons that helped me get into more doors and to generate more business was the fact that I solved the problem that customers had, and that was they didn't want to waste valuable oven space baking cookies. They wanted those cookies as an add-on sale because they were suggestive selling, as we talked about a few weeks back. But they didn't want to waste valuable oven space baking cookies. For example, if they're a pizza parlor, they wanted to bake pizza. So, but what happened? So the way I solved that problem was to give a free convection oven out with every purchase, every initial order. And my initial order only averaged $50, and the cost of a convection oven was $200. But because I understood both the cost to acquire that customer and the long-term value of the customer, it was an easy decision because the long-term value of a customer was $5,000. The cost to acquire that customer was about $200 to $250. And of course, the additional cost to make once they placed an order was $200. But in the long run, I made out great because I believed in my product. You know, if you don't believe in your product, you could calculate long-term value. You could calculate customer acquisition cost. It doesn't really matter. You're not going to go anywhere. You've got to believe in your product. And because I believed in my product, if I knew once they had it, once they tried it, once they started selling it, it would sell and they would be pleased with it. And that's exactly what happened. And so, but if I didn't understand the long-term value of a customer, I probably wouldn't do it because, and I probably wouldn't solve that critical problem that my customer had. And as a result, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have gotten into the additional doors that I got into, including international business that I was able to get because of that program. So it's understanding the cost to acquire and the long-term value of a customer is really critical in making business decisions that are going to pay off in the long run. Because if I ask 10 business owners today, would you give a customer $200 in exchange for $50? And I think that answer would, and I know the answer is a resounding no, no way. Without understanding the long-term value of a customer, without understanding the cost to acquire a customer. And these are questions that Shark Tank investors and all investors, if you are looking for money, ask that you have to answer. Because once an investor understands your profit margin, the long-term value of a customer, the cost to acquire a customer, it's just a machine after that. Yeah. They're willing to throw money at that. That's pouring gasoline on the business and having it explode because it's like a slot machine. All you're doing is putting money in and you're getting a return. Money in, getting a return. Money in, getting a return. So it is still, in my view, two of the most valuable metrics to understand for a business owner, especially if they're thinking about scaling.
Yeah, well, and why do businesses not look at those so highly?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of them don't understand it. I think if you look at the early episodes of Shark Tank, you'll get people fumbling, bumbling, and stumbling when they got that question because they didn't know the answer. Now they're more equipped because they've heard people fumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, and they figure they better know that answer going in. But also, it's not that easy to calculate, and at least for most business owners. And so that's one of the services we provide for sure. But I think the main reason is they don't understand it, and they never think of it. It's just something they don't think of. But it helps making decisions incredibly, because if you believe in your product and understand the long-term value of a customer, you'll do a lot of creative things to get customers.
Yeah, totally. And I also think too that one of the reasons business owners need somebody like you in a Next Step CFO is because they don't really think of a lot of those things because they're basically going on the fly. You know, right. And that's like driving somewhere without a GPS.
Yeah, so business owners need what I call strategic time. They're too ensconced in the day-to-day, and they need at least an hour a week to talk about strategically how they're going to build their business, how they're going to solve any operational problems or business problems that they have strategically. And you know, the other thing that it does is that that weekly call with a business owner, we have saboteurs, and I call them organizational terrorists. They're normally family and friends who always are questioning what you're doing. And having that time to not only talk strategically, but to speak to somebody in a supportive environment is very helpful to counter those people who are always questioning what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a couple of good reasons why, and you're absolutely right. Business owners are ensconced in the day-to-day. They have no time for strategic work. So if they could set aside an hour, and by the way, we tell you how to make up that hour. We tell you how to find that hour. We actually tell you how to find more than an hour, so that you could free up your time to do strategic things and work on the business instead of in it.
That's really helpful because I've been trying for years to figure out how to do a 48-hour day, and it hasn't been working.
I'm sure it hasn't. I'm sure. Yeah. And a lot of business owners are stuck in that trap. And there's, with the proper management, they can get out of that trap very, very easily. It's just, you know, most of the time with any of this stuff, Dean, I can't tell you, it's just a few little tweaks.
Yeah.
It's not blowing up. We're not blowing up the business here. Okay. It's just a few little tweaks. That's all it takes. 95% of the time.
I'm glad you brought that up because most people, they get overwhelmed, and that's why they do nothing.
That's right.
And they get the paralysis of analysis is what I call it.
And like when they hear shows like this too, it's the summation of all the information can get overwhelming for them. And I can just tell you that the sessions that we have are just small tweaks, small little changes. We're not blowing up the business because that's what they think. They think, oh, in order for me to implement all this stuff, I have to blow up the business and change everything. No, it's just little tweaks over time, and they compound on each other for profitability.
Yeah, it's not changing the business. It's just adding to it.
Right. You know what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, simply asking, right? Asking for another order of another type of another product or service at the time that you sold the original product or service. That's a tweak.
Yeah.
That's not blowing up the business. That's a tweak. That's an perfect example.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how we help business owners and what they can get out of it.
And where can we get more information and more tweaks and more advice on how to implement those tweaks?
Well, a lot of the tweaks come from our book interviews. And we love doing book interviews because, first of all, it helps us add more content to our book called Powerful Business Strategies, which you can get at nextstepcfo.net free of charge. And by the way, you don't even have to leave an email address. It's our contribution to the business world. So that's number one. But you could also go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form, and in the message section, just put the words book interview, and I will send you a calendar link to schedule it. And basically, the way the book interview works, it's 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies from my book, and then I ask a simple question. I ask, if a business owner in your industry were to implement the strategy that I presented, what would the impact be? And then I document it for the book. That's it. And the value that the business owner gets is they learn business strategies that their competition isn't doing.
And that's key. I think that's the core of success right there, is implementing strategies that your competitors are not doing. That's how you stand out above the crowd.
That's right. And there are several, by the way, because business owners, there's plenty of business owners who don't want to implement these strategies. And once again, just small tweaks.
Well, Michael, tweak away. Everybody's got to reach out to you guys to get some tweaks and get some help. And man, again, some more. This was really, really useful information. I hope people reach out to you because you know what? This year, we need everybody to be successful, and I think that can happen with you, Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. Thank you for all your powerful business strategies, and thanks once again for being on the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.